Shalom Aleichem. I had few conversations with students of mine this week. Some of them touched real sensitive points in my heart, like really woke me up to realize how deep are the fears in the hearts of people and how shaky people feel in this world, even though that people used to see wonders, and even people can work on that so hard to be sources of inspiration to others, and they will go and talk and cheer up people and be supportive and understanding and as well able to embrace and to accept and to tolerate and to hug others and to really allow people to open up to them, and they will carry other people's weight and heaviness on their hearts. But still, each and every one of us were carrying such heavy weight on our shoulders that shakes our stability, that brings us to places that there's a feeling as if there's no solid ground underneath our feet. A person can have his stable living costs cover, and he can have a family to support him. He can have good friends to consult with, and still, in certain aspects in his life, he can fall as if the cable was cut on while coming down with the elevator, like falling, dropping down with no way to stop. Like sometimes in life you can find yourself the strongest one of them all, powerful, stable, and crashing and losing touch with reality, to your fears, consumed to terror, to anxieties, to panic attacks. A man with great success, a woman with amazing profession, with a great career, and still, like in a certain angle, facing a certain experience, a certain thought, a certain feeling, all the trauma is bouncing back to your face in a way that you're like dropping the ball. Like you're just like, all right, I need to sit down, I need to relax, I need to breathe. And as I told you, especially one of those conversations really shook me, because I asked myself, okay, why does that person in that specific situation is losing control while managing wisely and like really blessed and gifted with millions of other situations in his life? But then he told me, I'm trying to change a little bit the details because I don't want to expose, not that he's like a known person or whatever, but to keep things private. This person consulted with some professional about his condition, about his situation. And that professional, like healer, therapist, told him that trauma is something that is passing in the DNA of the person from one generation to the next. Means that sometimes in life, when we go through difficulties, we're going to try to find the root. We're going to try to find the reason. Okay, you know what? I'm post-traumatic. I need to, okay, let's see. My childhood, my youth, my friends, my parent, my father, you're going to try to come up with situations that will, okay, maybe I was also like hurt. I was like insulted. I was ashamed. Yeah, people were like, friends were mocking, like, it's not always your life story. Sometimes it's even deeper. Sometimes it's not your trauma. Perhaps even your trauma is an outcome of an earlier trauma that took place in the life of your ancestors, of your grandparents, for an example. And there is no family tree today, I think, at least not in our societies, in our areas, families that were not going through horrible damages in earlier generations. Like, everyone ran out of the fire. Everyone were destroyed in earthquakes. Everyone's villages were burnt. Everyone's financials were like gone, and they had to start over in a new village, in a new town, in a new state, on a new land, like to adopt a new language. Like, all of us, everyone, with no exceptions, like all of us. So out of those traumas that we all experienced in our past and in the life of our grandparents, great-grandparents, that trauma is affecting us until today. It's not only your childhood trauma or your first marriage trauma or your first relationship or whatever, or your parents that were very hard on you or criticizing you or negative or full of fears, alcoholic, whatever. It might be that all these lifetime situations are also a reflection of a deeper trauma from earlier generations. And soon we're going to also come to a solution for that. But first I want to explain to you, how can it be that the trauma is affecting us so deeply and not based on science, not based on DNA? Yeah, the trauma is affecting and going through the DNA from the elders to the seniors. Not only that, I'll give you also a spiritual aspect to understand. When a child is being conceived, so as the Holy Sages explained to us, each person has three partners that together combines and establishing his soul. One is his father, the second one is his mother, and the maker of the world. Each of the partners is giving a portion of what he has, and together that triangle is the new person. It's in the seed, it's in the egg, and it's in the soul. There is a spark of life within the sperm, there is a spark of life within the egg, and there is a spark of life and additional and completing and bonding to all parts together in the godly soul that is being given by the Maker to cover, to wrap the package of that unity, of that connection, of that mating of the couple, the male, the female, and the Maker. Now, before you came to the world, those three portions of your soul exist. They were living. They were living within your parents and within the Maker, inside of them. Now, before your parents were conceived, their souls that are the souls that are contained your soul before you were conceived, they were inside their parents, your great-grandparents. So your soul is actually traveling inside souls since Adam HaRishon, since the first man. Therefore, you as a person were part, as a spark, as a portion of an earlier soul that is larger, that is bigger, that contains more souls, all your siblings, all your uncles, all your great uncles. And so earlier in the thicker branches of the tree of life of your family, branches that are wider and wider, closer to the trunk, all the way to Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, Bilhah, our forefathers, our ancestors. And before, to Adam Rishon soul, and when you look deep to the root of your soul, you have a memory in the ancient archives of the days of Kedem, of earlier days, the long days before creation even, to ancient infinity and beyond. Because if you're a spiritual soul, it means that you never started. Yes, you were dressed into bodies in a certain time. But also before of that, your soul is eternal. It existed. It was there. So inside of you, there is an ancient archive of old memories that you have experienced in all your lifetimes. And I'm not talking about reincarnation. I'm talking about the old being of your portion of soul within the physical tree of life of your family. There are other underground channels, spiritual ground channels, that are the spiritual tree of life of reincarnation history of your soul. Your soul can also travel to different branches and to become a part of a soul within another family tree. All the branches that we're calling them trees are adding up, like those amazing fields that all the trees are underground connected in the roots. All the people of the world in the end are all bonded and connected in Adam and Eve. The Holy Soul, the source of all souls, of all human beings that ever been created, with no exceptions. Everyone were inside Adam Arishon, everyone, with no exceptions. Now you have an ancient memory that goes on two aspects. One is the memory of your family, because you were inside all the souls of all your ancestors. You were receiving the Torah from Mount Sinai. You were there, inside the body of your great grandparents that stood in front of Moshe and received the tablets, and the sky were opened and they saw Hashem and they saw the voices and they heard, and like you were there. You were there. Like one book in the bookcase. So think about all the bookcase that contains all the books. They are all the souls that will come out eventually from that couple that were standing in front of Mount Sinai and received the Torah. Okay, 100 books, 100 generations, no problem. But they were all inside that bookcase, the earlier father and mother that were standing and received the Torah. So inside of you, the memory of Torah receiving is carved, is solid, is embraced. It's you. That's why when a person is learning Torah, he's always nodding his head in agreement, always agreeing, always as if he's remembering what he's being taught right now. Like, how can you agree with me on my wisdom? Like, say thank you, like accept it. Tell me, Rav, you said an amazing thing. Like, how can you in the world agree as if you were thinking about it before? Like, those are my words. Like, you want me to put the capital C in a circle to tell you that all rights belongs to my teach? It's my Torah. How can you nod your head in agreement? Because you and I are sitting on the same branch and we're eating from the same fruits. And like, what am I saying? The voice of my soul, and my soul, is it so far from yours? It might be that we're cousins and we don't even know it. It might be that we're brothers and we don't even know. You don't know. By the way, that is one of the strongest things that woke me up to do tshuva when I was young. When I was 20 years old as a soldier in the army, I met many of the Orthodox people, the Charedim, that came to join the army. And they would come to an interview and to conversations. And I looked at those people, honestly, I'm telling you, even though I'm Jewish from birth, and even though I grew up in Jerusalem, in the Holy Land of Israel, the Charedi, the Orthodox culture was totally foreign to me as a secular person. Grew up in Yerushalayim. I didn't have a clue about their lifestyle, what they do. It's different neighborhoods. Today, the neighborhoods are a bit more mixed and on, but because you have plenty of Baalei Tshuva. But like 25 years ago, they live there and you live there and you go to the beach and they go to the synagogue. It's like different, like you buy a bike and they go to learn Torah and to buy lulav. Like, who are they at all? Like, we didn't know them. I, as a kid, didn't grow up with them. When I was in the army, I've been exposed to new cultures, to a variety of people. It became very interesting. I started to investigate, to explore, because people came with different opinions, different like ideas. It was an interesting place for like mind expanding, not new knowledge I was exposed to. I was really thrilled to speak with new people. It was the beginning of my self-aware journey. I learned a lot. I developed, I grew. When I saw Orthodox people coming and they're like guarding their eyes, they don't look at the soldiers. Female soldiers are talking to them and they're not looking at them and they're answering like, she can't understand you. Many of the female soldiers would get upset. Like, hey, I'm talking to you. Why aren't you looking at me? Like, and I can understand that as well, because like she can never make the math on her own to understand why in the world can't you talk like a decent person? Like, hey, hi, I'm trying to help you. I don't need you to like, do you need help? I'm asking you, do you need help? Like, she cannot connect the ties. It's like a weirdo. Like he is a weird animal, like you in the forest. Like she never saw this kind of creation to understand that that he works based on his logic. Like which logic? Like he's crazy. That's what she see. From her world, from where she's coming, he's a weirdo. She must reject him even to protect herself, not to feel that something is wrong with her. Like, am I so wrong? Am I such a like? And really, like she didn't do anything. Like she's eating chips, she's drinking cola. Like, what has she done? What did she do? She didn't do anything. Like she's all dressed, like she's covered. Like what do you want? Like she didn't do it. When I saw those struggles, it came to mind that, let's say my brother, that was my thought back then, before I did tshuva, before I became religious. I said to myself, let's say that your brother would do tshuva, and let's say that he did tshuva, and he would become Orthodox. Like, you have those examples. Back then I knew some people become religious one day. Like it exists. And then I said to myself, I might stand now in front of my brother, like, hey, he is Jewish, I'm Jewish. We might be brothers. We are that close that we really might be family without even knowing it. Like, it could have been, a situation could take place that one of my uncles will do tshuva, will become radically religious Orthodox, and that I will not know his children, my cousins, and they will come to the army, to join the army, and like, I don't know them. Now, why that I won't treat my brother with honor because I don't recognize him as my brother? It's not a reason. The fact that I don't see him as my brother is my problem, because he might be. When I started to think about them as people equal to me, like really equal, like family, we're family. I don't know why that I will reject my family for not knowing them earlier. It came to mind that I want to understand what's the difference between me and them. And then I said to myself, we're all Jewish. Our Judaism is told in the Bible, that I knew. I knew that the Bible, Torah, is holding our history as a nation. And then I said to myself, and they're making a big business out of that Torah, like that's what they're minding, like that's what they're thinking of, following the rules over there. And me, I like don't care. I don't care. Like I'm buying a bike now. I'm riding. Bye. Like I'm going with my friends. So they care about the Torah and its explanations. And me, I just don't care about it. So that thought was troubling me. I said, oh, so even the one thing that we have in common, the Bible, okay, the interpreters, the commentaries, okay, I don't care, God forbid, yeah, back then, I don't care about that. Okay, I understand. But the Bible, the Torah, I do care. When I finished basic trainings in the army, I made an oath and I received a copy of the Bible. In school, we learned Bible classes, like something I do have. So why that one thing that we have in common, that is the Bible, I don't care about it? Why that I won't care about the Torah, the Bible? And then I took upon myself to learn the Torah, the Tanakh. And I took it out from my bookcase home, the one that I received on basic trainings in the army, and I started to read it. From Bereshit, all 5 books of Torah, Le'enei Kol Israel, finished 5 books, and then moved to the prophets and to the scripts, and read all the Tanakh, all 24 books. I read them all. When I finished reading all of that in 2-3 weeks, I closed it and I said, it was the most interesting book I ever read in my life. That was clear. And I asked myself, okay, so now what will you do with that conclusion? And I said, I'm going to read it again. Most interesting book in the world. Won't you read it again? Do you have something else? Back then we didn't have Netflix. So I decided to read the Bible again, and I read it again and over and over and over and over, and thank God, Baruch Hashem, did not take my hands away from the Torah since that day. To understand now, we are all one family. And as a family, we have a spiritual bonding, spiritual connection that can be troubling. Like, oh man, look now what is happening in Israel with the families of the kidnapped people, or people that went through the horrible massacre, or soldiers' families that were killed, died in the war, sacrificed them. Like, I'm telling you, I don't need to tell you, I'm sure that you're experiencing the same thing. We are all mourning. We are all troubled. We cannot sleep at night. Everyone cares. Everyone. We all have different opinions. We all have different perspectives. We all have different whatever, but we are one. Like, we feel it. It's like, man, those ties are unbreakable. Those branches are uniting us to one tree. Now, as strong, eternal, living branches of that gigantic, important oak of life, souls of Israel, the energy that is being channeled within us is so super powerful that it can heal all the traumas. And that's the clearing and healing message to all. Because after the fact that we are carrying a horrible trauma, because if someone 200 years ago ran like crazy from his burnt, fired village, and he was the only refugee, and ran to the port and jumped on a boat and sailed across the sea and traveled to Europe, and over there somehow he got a job and joined the working company and started moving boxes and started drinking liquors and became drunk, and they're barely surviving as a family until today, and you are one of their descendants and you're troubled. The trauma of the great grandpa that ran and crossed the sea is still in your veins. That's why you're so suffering, and that's why you're still drinking. Because he, back then, 200 years ago, didn't have no other solution except of finding a brandy bottle in 50 cents back then, with half of a lira sterling back then. That was his only outlet. That was his only hope. And that's why when it's winter, you're looking for a cognac, a good bottle of cognac. And that's why in the summer, you're looking for a good bottle of scotch or whiskey. And you don't know why. You're not even enjoying it so much, but something within you is being healed when you're drinking. And it's not the head that you're getting. It's not the mind free. It's like, it's nothing actually. You would drop it. If it wouldn't be such a healing thing for you, you would drop it. You don't like to drink. But it's, I can't tell you. But you know what that your soul knows. You know what's going on within you. So first of all, drop all judgments, all criticizing thoughts. Oh, you're an alcoholic. No, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm going through things in life that million books cannot describe, cannot tell. In an hour, my thoughts climbing to the Everest and beyond in million ways from different countries. When I go through things, I see them in millions of angles that cannot be broken down and explained to no one. The way that I feel, the way that I love my wife, the way that I feel to my children is like billions of Hollywood movies that will never touch the core of my pure heart. And if someone thinks that he can come to the depth of my heart and realize it, I'm telling you, you're off track, you're off course, you are like dust in the wind, assuming that you can hold and grasp a soul of an Israeli person. I'll tell you, exactly equal to the fact that you cannot grasp mine, I cannot grasp yours. I'm not assuming I can. It never crossed my mind to think that I can go so deep within you to realize where you're standing. This is why when people are calling me and contacting me and they start apologizing, look, Rav, I want to tell you something, but I don't want you to judge me. I'm laughing. I'm telling them, listen. I am 100% myself, and you're 100%. Maybe you will describe my path as heroic and great, and I might describe yours as well. I don't know you. Why that I will judge you? How in the world I can go down to judge and analyze your nature if you experience a whole different journey than mine? Who am I to put a magnifying glass on you when I am still exploring myself? I don't know who I am, that I will come to the conclusion that I know who you are? Can I tell you your struggles? Can I tell you how it affected you that your father was screaming in that day of crisis? I can only tell you that I know for sure that it was a 100% your experience. And if you're honest, I will receive the reflection. I will receive the feeling from you because it was 100% powerful to affect your life. Like when my father was screaming in the house, it was 100% strong back then. When they separated, when we went through A, and when we moved to B, all those things printed themselves on the board of my heart. And if you have a heart and you're sharing from your 100%. If you're describing your pain, it was 100% pain. And if you're describing your desire for love, it's 100% pure desire for love. I will never try to compare those loves, because love is flying up and fear is going down. So yours are going up to heavens and going down to hell, and mine as well. I'm just the same. When I love, and when I hate, and you are built in the same way. You have a channel up to heaven, and you have your roots down in the ground. And we just need to learn how to grow together without disturbing each other, and to try to synchronize and to live in harmony. We might even be able to assist each other's process of growth and blooming. and being fruitful, supporting each other in our honest work. The powers that are being channeled within you are even more ancient than the trauma that you're carrying. Because the trauma started in the first sin. That's when pain began. But your soul was given to Adam HaRishon from an ancient source beyond time earlier. Of course, before the sin. Within Adam, it was before the sin. But before Adam was created, your soul was with Hashem. That's why the power of goodness is overpowering all powers of darkness and pain. No matter which darkness is covering your soul, the light of your soul is stronger and wider and more powerful to reject it, to reject all kinds of darkness. That's why a blind person can see more than a person that his eyes are fully opened. And that's why a person that was hurt can feel more than a person that was never hurt before. That's why the life experience is based, the wisdom of a person is based on his life experience and not the opposite. Means that you learn from your experiences, and therefore as much more that you went through in life, that's how wiser you can get if you will allow the light to control those life experiences of yours. If you will let Hashem in. If you will let Hashem in into the darkest corners of your life, then Laila Kayom Ya'ir, the night will shine as the brightest day. Because for Hashem, Chashecha Ka'ora, the darkness is as light. Hashem can see in the dark exactly equally to the way that he can see during the day. He does not need the light. The light is coming out of him. The light that we can see is the reflection of his outskirts, reflections of spreading sparks from his royal garments. As creations, we need to learn our nature and to understand the process that we go through in life. In life, you're facing walls, you're facing obstacles, challenges, trials, huge issues that you need to confront, to solve problems you need to break, to do and undo, to tie and untie. But the fact that you are there is the evidence for the fact that you can cross those challenges, or else you would already die. If you were meant to fail, you would fail already. But if you will allow the light to be channeled to any life situation, that situation won't be the same. It won't be as dark as it seems. It won't be as hard as it feels. It won't be as complex as it shows itself. It's not. Only when you are troubled and you give your mind to the details, to the combinations, to the dividings, to the complications, to the theories, to other people's opinions, then you are trapped in prison cells, in particles divided from the root, from the source, from the oneness that combines and connects it all in its root, in its core, in its essence, in its source of life. But when you close your eyes and you say, screw it, listen, I need to go back to Hashem. Thank you, Hashem, for bringing me here. Thank you. Can you help me realize what you want me to do? Can you brighten my mind for me to see a clearer picture? You don't need your eyes to see a clearer picture. You need your mind. You don't need money to go out of troubles. You don't need cash flow. You don't need connections. You don't need friends. You don't need the rabbi. You don't need Torah. You don't need mitzvot. You don't need Judaism. You don't need the temple. Naked of all, the Maker created you and put the soul within you. That's your inner channel. That's your inner spring. That's your inner source of life. You are alive from within. Food does not revive you. And that person that foods will be shoved into his mouth won't be able to digest it. Even when you are weak, you don't have no appetite. You're unable to eat. You don't have enough energy within you to process and digest the food. So you see that the food is a labor. Food is work. Food is a war, is a struggle, is a pain, is a punishment for sinning of eating. All of our eatings are to repair the premier sin of eating from the tree of knowledge, for not choosing the tree of life. How will we choose the tree of life? Based on the explanation that we said. Connect yourself to your ancestors. Go back to your root. Come back to the true self of who you are. Be and become the one that survived all the generations and reached 2024, that reached today. You are here and everyone else died. You are the spark that was passed as a torch from one grandfather to the next, from one generation to, like, everyone burnt and he made it to shore. Everyone drowned and he made it to the island. Everyone were killed and he swam his way to the canal. Everyone drowned over there and he built the house. Everyone died in the war and he survived. And you are now catching your breath. So breathe. And don't ever give up, because you are the one to tell the story. You're the one to push the button. You're the one to cross the victory line. You're the winning one. You are the one that is doing it, that is making it. You are the one. You, me. I am the one. I am the one that is doing it. Me, myself, yes, me. But I am so scarred, yes. But I'm so damn tired, yes. I'm so, troubled, yes. After such a war of over 5,000 years of a soul that is jumping from one body to the next, that went through hundreds of bodies until today, experienced full lifetimes inside each and every one of them, I understand why I'm so troubled. Even while remembering barely only my lifetime and not all the rest, I am overwhelmed with this lifetime. Not to talk about the ancient archives of my mind that are connected to all the life stories of all my premier ancestors. May they all rest in peace. Let's connect our true selves. Connect ourselves through our minds to our inner being, through the channel of our souls that is within our minds, in our brains, in the softest place, in the central place of your brain. Over there is the throne of honor, is the holy chariot. Over there is the sapphire stone, is the purest than water marble stone. Within your brain, the softest part of your mind, that's where the rope, Yaakov Chevel Nachalato, the rope of Jacob, the soul, like a rope of Jacob, because it's of Jacob, because you are a long arm of Jacob. He's looking at you. Will you pass on the torch to the next generation? You are. We're not disappointments to our ancestors. We're their pride. We're the one that made it. We're the ones that nailed it. We're the ones that are coming back to our roots and remembering our mission, our purpose, our goal. We are reflecting who our true ancestors were. We are their illumination, their aura. their success, their pride. Thank you.